Have you ever asked yourself if you are the narcissist or the problem or the abusive person? I get this question a lot, especially from people who have been in these relationships, and it's a really tricky one, but it's also very simple. And I'm going to give you a couple of questions that will help you answer this question for yourself and help you easily decipher if you are the narcissist or the problematic one in the relationship. Now, caveat, we all bring our stuff into relationships and none of us are perfect. We all have areas where we can go full ego and become emotionally immature. And healthy relationships are all about how we meet those moments, how we meet each other's triggers, and how we handle rupture and repair. And as we know, in narcissistic relationships, this process becomes hindered and is not possible. So if you've been asking, am I the narcissist? There's probably a couple of reasons why. One of the main things that happens in a psychologically abusive relationship is something called narcissistic fleas. So when you are with someone who is highly antagonistic, of course they don't act like this at first. They, come off as a completely different person who's actually really caring and doting on your needs and very agreeable. When this mask slips, a whole different side comes out and you find yourself begging and pleading for basic human decency, right? There's this experience of shock and awe and a lot of confusion because you don't recognize this person and you don't quite know how to navigate this kind of relationship because they're a little more rare, thankfully. And when the gaslighting and the manipulation and abuse really ramps up, that can have us acting in ways that we are not used to seeing in ourselves. We become more protective. We start to get worn down. We're dealing with trauma, which has us, on high alert. We are coming from an anxious place, and we start to come from a more self-protective place. And when we are not used to behaving in these ways, it can feel really foreign and self-serving. In these relationships, our compassion and our graciousness and our forgiveness, they get taken advantage of and weaponized against us. So when we start to withdraw our multiple chances and our benefit of the doubt, and we start to see things as they are, as harmful as they are, our natural sense of protecting oneself can feel cold. It can feel mean. It can feel judgmental. And when we are dealing with abusive dynamics, it can just really run us down. As you know, if you've been in this situation, a narcissistic person is going to try to set you off. It's kind of wild. You work with all of these communication tools to try to be diplomatic and really care for the other person's feelings, even though you're hurting and you're starting to get upset. But if you don't get set off at some point, they will pull out a really mean insult, like something that they know is going to piss you off, just so they can watch you snap and call you the problem. So yes, you think you are the problem because this person has created a problem. And they've kind of turned your reaction to their abuse into a problem. And, you might notice yourself reacting in ways that are out of character for you. You might find yourself slamming doors. You might find yourself screaming "fuck you" back at a person when you just don't yell profanities at a person, but you do if someone continually insults you and weaponizes your own grace against you. So when you start noticing yourself behaving in these ways, it's very common to ask, am I a narcissist? Because wow, I definitely feel like I'm way more of a bitch than I've ever been, and maybe this is my true nature coming out. I'm feeling very self-oriented. I'm feeling very guarded. I'm feeling rather angry and judgmental. And yeah, I feel very hypersensitive and on guard and paranoid, right? Being in a narcissistic relationship can start to turn us into having qualities that are common for narcissistic individuals. So, how do we figure this out? As I said, we all have times and instances and places where we are, where we can grow and can work on ourselves. That's true for all of us. That's fine. That does not indicate narcissism. But here is a really clarifying question for you. Ready? What do you do when you hurt somebody? We all hurt people. What is your reaction when someone is impacted negatively by something you say or do? Especially when it's someone close to you. Like, how do you respond to them? Do you respond with empathy? Do you listen to them? Do you really want to know how this person feels and what you said or did that caused this reaction? Are you curious to hear all the ways that it impacted them? And do you become curious about yourself and where maybe you are being insensitive, or how maybe you can be more mindful or gentle or more kind moving forwards so that the people around you aren't hurt or negatively impacted by your words and actions? Is this something that you do? You take that into consideration and really care, and maybe you feel a little bit of shame and remorse and like, oh man, little ping in your heart, like I don't want to hurt people. How can I be myself and express myself and be mindful of the people around me because I love them? Is that you? Is that your normal baseline? Well, if so, congratulations, you're not a narcissist and you're not the problem. Or do you second guess them? Do you feel afraid or offended? Do you immediately get defensive? Do you immediately explain yourself? Do you immediately think that that person is too sensitive or rude for telling you they are hurt? Do you try to find alibis and get other people to strengthen your case? Do you dismiss them? Do you dismiss their feelings and think that they're just being a whiny baby, or that they're just playing a victim? Try to make them feel guilty for expressing their hurt, because them expressing their hurt hurts you and feels unfair. If it's any of those, then you might want to self-reflect on that. These kinds of responses are highly indicative of, some unresolved issues, and therapy is a really good way to work on that, especially if you become enraged at someone for telling you that you hurt them. If you become extremely fragile and feel like you're falling apart, either you feel like you're going to die, to be exiled and cast out, and if you have overwhelming feelings of panic or rage or resentment towards someone for telling you that your actions hurt them, that needs to be held with a professional who can help you untangle that. And yeah, that might mean you might be dealing with narcissism, but only a professional is going to be able to give you a proper diagnosis. If it's at least somewhat easy for you to listen to another person's grievance about your behavior, and for you to not become completely overwhelmed with panic and listen to them, and they might be on the mark, they might have understood you well, they might have misunderstood you, but if you can have a gentle conversation about it, and if you can apologize for what you said, what you did, or how you came off, even if you didn't intend to, and that's relatively easy for you, then you're not a narcissistic person. If doing that is next to impossible for you and you feel like you're going to fall apart if you offer an apology. If you just have to be right, if you think this person's crazy for bringing that up, then you know, you might have a problem. Obviously, these things hold so much nuance, and you know, these personality disorders can be quite complex, and other things like experiences of trauma or neurodivergence can affect someone's levels of sensitivity. However, how a person responds with empathy towards another person's pain is one of the biggest indicators of if you are a narcissistic person or not. The easiest way to tell is how accountability occurs, or if it doesn't at all. If it's a fight to get someone to be accountable, or if they just can't be at all, if they just slip and slide right out of there and blow back at you, that's narcissism in a nutshell. But if accountability is, you know, relatively straightforward, there might be a little bit of resistance and pain and prickles, because it's like sometimes it can be scary. But if someone's willing to look at their stuff and swallow their pride and say I'm sorry and really want to know how the other person is doing and cares about their impact, then, you know, that is a healthy sign. I hope you found this clarifying and helpful. Sending you all my love.